don't
Do
know if
it
you
backwards.
know this.
Awesome.
This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
My kids have this toy. It's like a lightsaber, I guess, and it records things and then it plays them backwards. That's a lot of fun. And they're saying things, rude things. They say it backwards and then it plays it backwards so it comes out forwards. It's funny.
They say it backwards and it comes out forwards?
Yes, because it reverses anything that you put in. So the joke is, and the funny game is, try to say something backward so that when it comes out,
Right.
it sounds right.
And your kids are able to do that?
Not perfectly, but some of it's pretty funny. Yeah,
That's mind-boggling to me that they could do that.
They spend hours doing it. It's hilarious.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's like a gift. You need to put them on TV or something. They're like Mary Lou Henner with her perfect memory. That's insane.
It's insane. And so they sit there, trying to do their names and our names and swear words. And, it's a lot of fun.
All right. So she's Emily, I'm Stu, and man, did I
G'day.
get screwed on that whole Pope deal. That didn't go through the way I wanted it to. I was campaigning for Pope, and I just need to tell you, it's all political. I'm demanding a full recount. There were Dominion voting machines involved, and I don't think that it was accurate. And I was hanging out with that guy that got elected Pope. He did a miracle while I was sitting there with him. He turned water into wine. Actually, he told the server to take back the water and bring wine is the way he did the miracle, but it was a whole thing. So this new Pope, at least is anti-Trump. We got that, right? And I kind of have a so what? Is that going to have any effect?
Well, I don't really know because it depends. Because Christians are Christians, but not all Christians are Catholic.
Right.
So.
And I don't even know if they have influence within their own people to make a difference if the Pope decided to do something, is my thought.
Yeah, no.
All right. So we'll see. Get to it, so. Pope, you bastard. Let's make a difference there. And then I started having this whole fantasy in my brain. And for some reason, I went to, if this was a Tarantino movie, there was this new Pope that was stepping up and he would order a hit on Trump. And there would be this whole movie involved in this pure fantasy thing of how this would go if the Pope were in a Tarantino movie. It's kind of like alternate reality, like he did with the Mansons in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I don't think you've seen yet.
I have seen it. I have seen it. And I like how we've reached a point in history where the popes are now young enough that they were old enough to be real people in this lifetime before they came pope. And so there are women on the internet who were talking about how they were hooking up with Pope Leo while he was still in college. And so I think that is just top shelf awesome because that is super weird. It feels incongruous with being a pope that you would be, I don't know, banging Becky's nana in the back seat. But whatever, Pope Leo, have at it.
I just love the phrase banging Becky's nanner. That's good. That's a favorite now. Well, you're right. And maybe in like 10 or 20 years, it will be a thing where the common phrase is, all popes experiment as they go through college. All of them do that. It's just a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I think way more of a person that experiments and screws around when they're young anyway. So that's a good way to go.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, poor Becky's nana. How does she feel knowing that she turned him into a pope? He's like, fuck this. I'm going to get celibate.
Yeah. Like it's not working out. I'm either going to go gay or I'm going to be pope. One of the two.
Exactly.
Also, this past week was Mother's Day, and we didn't talk about it last week that it was coming up. But what did your kids do? Did they get you a card? What was the thing?
We do the same thing every year, and it's awesome. Mother's Day is actually a huge deal in my house. Not necessarily because it's the day the mother is celebrated, but because it's a big family day for us, and we have a really fun tradition where we all dress up and we go for brunch. And it's just really fun. We really enjoy doing it. We go to a buffet somewhere and just have a really great time.
Is it
And
not
we
just a
do that.
madhouse with tons of mothers out there and you're crowded with people? That would be a little bit tense-filled for me.
No,
No? All
not
right.
no, not for what we're getting into. No.
Okay.
So we usually get tickets to a nice buffet where you have a table and there's a time and all of that kind of stuff.
All right.
We're not going down a Sizzler.
You don't do the traditional American breakfast in bed thing then?
No.
Have you heard about I'll tell you, the traditional breakfast in bed thing is you get mom, you wake her up about noon, you let her sleep, and you bring her the traditional Mother's Day breakfast in bed, and that's steamed Brussels sprouts.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
great. I prefer my Brussels sprouts oven roasted.
Okay.
But
Well, this is steamed, no butter, no salt even. It's just steamed Brussels sprouts for mom on Mother's Day. And you might want to impart on your kids, hey, I know that I come from other lands, but we're an American now. Let's do this the way Americans do. Next year, steamed Brussels sprouts only.
they probably owe me after I wrap up Brussels sprouts as Ferrero Rochers for Halloween. So it's probably fair.
Ferrero Rochers, what?
You know the Ferrero Rocher?
Are those
the
little candies that are crunchy, kind of?
Yeah, they're chocolate hazelnut
Oh, okay.
things. They're in the little trays. They're gold. They're round.
Okay. You give those out at Halloween?
No.
Okay. You look at me
Wow.
like, you asshole. Of
This
course I
is-
don't.
This bit has gone so well, in case you were wondering. Here's the picture of the Ferrero Rocher. And
Yeah.
I was telling you about how I wrap up Brussels sprouts to look like Ferrero Rochers.
Okay.
And so I'm probably owed some boiled Brussels sprouts for
Gotcha.
Mother's Day.
I'll take the hit on that one. I was probably not paying close enough attention. And you went to Ferrero Rocher, and I said, wow, that sounds like some kind of thing that I don't know what it is. But then I do know what it is. I just didn't know the name of it. And then I didn't correlate it to the Brussels sprouts. I get you. Same
Totally
shape.
fine. Same shape,
There you
different
go.
day. I may as well have been blowing bubbles into my milkshake. What's a diorama? Okay, Ralphie, whatever. No. No,
I do
think we're good.
podcasting.
Look in the tunk. At least you don't hit your mic every time you get excited like I do. It's a massive podcasting Woody shoots up and smashes my microphone.
It's
Um,
the little
but-
things that make the differences.
It really is.
Yeah.
But yes, Mother's Day is a big deal here. It's super fun. We do the same thing every morning, regardless if it's Mother's Day or otherwise. We all sit down and we have a breakfast table. We eat breakfast together.
That's good.
We have a coffee. I'll have a coffee. The boys will they'll either make themselves breakfast or I'll make them a breakfast depending on the day and what they want. And then we hang around and solve puzzles together. Like we do the New York
that's cool.
puzzles, like Connections, the Mini. My eldest son and his dad, they like to do Wordle. I don't like Wordle. I don't do Wordle, but they do Wordle together.
Wordle is one of those things that I feel like I'm at least somewhat smart. I somewhat have it together. I feel like I have a good vocabulary, and then I play it and I feel like a dim-witted asshole.
It is really humbling,
Yeah.
I find. Yes. And Connections, it's very humbling.
Yeah. Like I can watch Jeopardy that we've talked about and feel okay about what I'm doing, but you put the Wordle in front of me and I don't know. Maybe it's the process of I know the word and trying to find the word that I'm not good at. Maybe getting there is the problem that I have.
Yeah, I find it incredibly difficult, which
Yeah.
is probably why I don't do it, because it's just too frustrating.
Yeah.
It makes me feel too dumb, and I don't need that sort of negativity in my life. That's not how I want to start my day, feeling like an absolute imbecile.
Right. I have so many other forms of negativity that I can use to start my day. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, if I want to feel absolute garbage, I just go for a walk, have people scream things out the window at me. Whatever.
Yeah.
Thinking about, talking about screaming things out the window, have you seen that guy who goes around doing all of like the nice cat calling, like at the Country Music Awards or the Grammys and that kind of stuff? The guy, nice cat calls.
I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen the one with the guy that's walking up on a woman and goes, "Hey, nice ass," but then behind her they've placed a donkey and he thinks that's clever. It's not that guy, is it?
No, it's not that guy.
Okay.
No, it's a guy who calls things out like, "You look like you've got a great credit score. You look like you'd be good at math."
That I think, I don't know if he stole it, but that's a Jen Kirkman bit. She's a stand-up comedy person. Jen Kirkman had a bit like that 10 years ago or so. Very funny.
It's very funny. And then for the Grammys and whatnot, he's at the red carpet or at the airport or something. And as all of these famous people are coming by, he's like, the Backstreet Boys are walking by and he's like, "People say the Backstreet's back, but you never left. Am I right?" It's just so funny. Really, really cute stuff. And just catcalling things like, who's Nicole Kidman married to?
Oh, Keith Urban? Do I have that right? Yeah.
There you are. He's like, "Here's the guy, best hair in country music." Just being really funny. Here we are, out here being nice. I just think it's such a cute little concept, just out there screaming out nice things to people. I think that's a really nice thing to do.
It is
There should
very
be
anti
more
the
of
typical
it.
bit, and that's a good angle on it.
Yeah, much better than that whack job who was running up to, gosh, what's his name? Hilarious husband.
Oh, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, that lives rent-free in my head. That guy's such a tosspot.
Okay, got to call you on this. The rent-free in my head thing. Okay, it's a little bit old, but I've never really understood that either. It means that it shares a good space in your head and it doesn't have to pay rent and you are delighted in it and you're happy with it, so it doesn't have to pay you money. Is that the gist of that?
No, it shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. It just lives there. It occupies a space in my mind, but it's a squatter. I want it out. It's occupying time and space that I don't have nor need. Maybe I'm using it incorrectly,
I don't know.
but it's in there. It's rotting away. I think about it.
As long as you don't trigger me or gaslight me, then I guess I'm okay with it. Fucking God damn it. I have a whole list of stuff this week even, and I'm making my list of annoyances, those phrases that we'll be going over at the end of the year of things that have annoyed me this year. But anyway, moving on. We've got some health issues to talk about.
Oh, please. You start.
Well,
health problems.
Realizing I can't top yours if you're going to talk about them, but I'll start. I have to get lasers stuck in my frickin' eyes. I have to get that done in a couple weeks.
Are you getting LASIK?
No, it'd be good if it gave me better vision. That would be worth it.
Are you getting cataracts removed?
Kind of. I went to the optometrist and I have something called narrow angles, which means that the canals that drain the goo that's in my eyes and the back of my eyeball are very narrow. And this is common. And in order to make it so that my eyes don't explode like I have glaucoma in a year, they're going to go in with lasers and open up those canals, and they're going to do it over 2 weeks. I'm getting one done on a Tuesday night, so I might show up with one eye blind the next day to the show. And then the following week, I'm getting the other eye done, assuming that one eye isn't blind. So you might be doing the show with a blind man. I have that to look forward to. And I'm kind of okay with it, but I'm also a little bit nervous. I don't like lasers in my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to be supportive.
How can you do that exactly? You want to get it done too? That'd be a fun thing. We'll both get it done.
Hey, I've got an idea. Why don't they let me do it?
Oh.
They were kind of getting it done together.
I'd almost be willing to do that for the show, but not quite.
Oh, well, one, I'm sorry that you have to get that done. That must be nerve-wracking. Anytime there's things near my eyes, I get really nervous about that sort of thing. Do your eyes have to be open, or are they going to go in through your nose or something?
They haven't said yet. I just got the insurance pre-approval, and I assume they're going to put those things that guard my
God.
eyes and grab on and keep them open, and they're going to be really dry so I can't blink. And then I'm sure they're going to be putting drops in there. And that's nerve wracking for me. I don't want to have to do that.
I've only ever seen those in horror films.
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about
gosh. Well, I wish you all the best with that, because
Mhm.
that is absolutely horrifying.
And then slightly after that, I have to get my ass done again. Time for a colonoscopy. Got the call just
I thought
yesterday.
you were going to get your BBL reversed, and I was like, you went all the way to Miami for that. Why would you mess with perfection?
Okay. BBL?
It's a Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, okay.
You know how all those girls go and get massive
Gotcha.
bolt-on asses?
Brazilian butt lift.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm having done. It's not a colonoscopy again. And that isn't that big a deal. It's the thing of you have to drink the laxative and you're just on the toilet the entire day before. That's the worst part, because then you go in and you do get the best sleep ever. They just put you out and you wake up and the doctor talks to you and tells you that he lasered off a couple polyps and there it is. But I too much of me lately. And as long as we're talking, how's your ass? Is your ass okay? Do you get your ass checked?
I do get my ass checked. I had it checked a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And
because you're a mom, you don't want to be walking around with a faulty ass. You have kids to take care of.
yeah, no, exactly. Got to keep it in line. Can't have my, ass falling out or anything like that.
Right.
I'm going to admit something that's probably bad. One, I love going under general anesthetic.
That's so
I feel like
good.
it's the only time I can ever have a decent sleep, which I think is probably dangerous, because I should never try heroin.
Yeah. We're going to end up like Michael Jackson, you and me. I swear to God.
Honestly. Just, yeah.
It is the most restful instant thing, and I love it. I had surgery and the colonoscopy in my life, and it's just instant out, and you wake up so refreshed.
So refreshed. So good. I don't know why people don't like it. Obviously, I'm not out here just getting elective surgeries for the general anesthesia. But in the times where I have had it, and very specifically the colonoscopy, very relaxing. I guess because it's just like a routine thing. But then also another thing, I said I was going to admit two things.
Yeah.
I don't mind shitting out my entire life. I actually really like the feeling at the end of like when you actually stop turning yourself inside out and you're like, oh, the badness has stopped. And then I'm like, oh, wow, I feel great. I don't have stomach cramps. I don't have any badness or anything. That moment between when that stops and then you go and you get knocked the fuck out and then you wake up and then you come home, that whole time period, that's actually a good time.
You feel
I'm
very
here for it.
light and empty, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel like I've gone to a spa.
It's very relaxing.
It's like getting a facial, but for your ring piece.
And, I don't look forward to a colonoscopy.
Sure,
I don't look
does?
forward to a surgery if it happens. But there's a little thing in the back of my brain that I go, hey, at least I get that good sleep out of it. At least I get that. That's going to be a plus, a bonus. And I'll wake up and my ass will hurt and feel gooey and I'll have to towel off, but I will have had the best sleep ever.
Cheers to the best sleep ever.
And then I thought, how all those people say they're getting abducted by space aliens? Maybe the space aliens are just trying to help us out and make sure we don't have ass cancer. Maybe when they abduct us, they're checking us out and probing us to make sure we don't have issues. And maybe they're helping us. Maybe that's a plus. Maybe they're like involuntary doctors.
Plot twist.
Yeah. You were abducted?
No, plot twist. This is people having an adverse reaction to the medication.
Ooh.
They're remembering their colonoscopy as having been abducted by aliens, and they're waking up mid-anesthesia or whatever, and they're having distorted memories or whatever, and their brain's scrambled.
It's like an ass flashback.
Exactly.
Oh.
Flashback. And so they're messing it all up.
That could be. This is a new theory that we need to investigate now.
And they're memorizing it as they've been abducted. But what really happened is they went in for a routine inspection.
Like they say, people that when they die see the tunnel at the end of the darkness, and they see the light at the end of the darkness. If they see the tunnel, that'd be scary. They see the light at the end of the tunnel in the darkness.
It's a train.
And they think that it's God, but maybe it's just a train, or they say it's a hallucination. It could be the same thing with the space aliens and your ass.
It definitely could be. I mean, the more that we think about this, though, lots of these people who I see that have been abducted by aliens don't look like they even get routine teeth cleaning.
Right.
And so it seems unlikely that they'd be getting preventative colonoscopies.
But maybe those are the ones being abducted by space aliens, and they target, because those are the same people. It's always Farmer John that sees the space aliens and gets abducted. It's never the executive in New York City. Those are the people that would need to be abducted to get the ass figured out.
Business idea. Here we go. Emily and Stu's Abduction Medical. Okay, here's what we got.
I think I know where you're going.
Do you have a family member who's adverse to receiving medical care? With Emily and Stu's Abduction Medical Service, we'll get them sorted right out. Okay, we can hunt these motherfuckers down with tranq darts. We can take them down. We can clean their teeth like dogs at the vet, give them colonoscopies, just run them through the PET scanner, make sure they don't have cancer, do everything, and then return them to their bed. And they would be none the wiser. One, have the best sleep of their lives.
Yep.
Great. Two, have all of their preventative maintenance done. Take all of their blood tests, do all of that sort of stuff. And they never would have known that it's happened. So their kids would can stop pestering them. You should go see a doctor. Pfft, fuck off. Call Emily and Stu. We will sort them right out.
And then we bill their insurance and get a copay.
Yeah.
There you go. There's plenty of money in that, I know.
Sure. Ethics. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's just go somewhere where, human rights and ethics don't matter anymore. Like, I don't know, the United States.
I was just going to suggest that. Perfect.
This is perfect.
Well, and to set it up, what we do is we have their relatives take them out for a night at the bar, and we give them the special pre-solution to put in the drink. It knocks them out. They think they just had a wild night at the bar. We help them do all the probing and the experiments and modifications that need to be done to their body. Then we put them in bed, and they think they were just out. Oh, and then we get hookers. We put a hooker in their bed. They don't even have to do anything, just to be there when they wake up, to make it seem like it was such a wild night. They really don't know what happened, and they won't want to talk to anybody about it because of that. And then we go from there. You need a lot of little things, a lot of red herrings to throw things off is what we need. Too involved?
I mean, depending on the demographic, the hookers could be overkill. Again, I'm going to go back to Becca's Nana on this.
Okay. Well, or if you really need to be effective, you put a hooker in Nanner's bed.
Dressed as a pope.
Sure.
Oh, that shit's got layers.
Wow, that got kinky.
Hey, I didn't start it. She did.
God damn it.
I just finished it. This is ridiculous, and I like it.
I think that's a Taylor Swift lyric.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I like this idea. It's a
idea.
new money-making scheme that we come up with from time to time.
And also, it's really going to help the medical system. Because again, think about this. We're going to vaccinate these dickheads as well while we've got them, because this is going to be great. Measles and mumps, the flu, whatever. Just great.
Don't know about if you heard this in the news, but if not, I'll explain. Do we then take them and put them in a creek that is soaked in sewage so they build up immunity like RFK did?
Yes.
Okay, good. Everybody else you can Google if you don't get it.
And for all of his craziness, I will say this. I get his point. And I do kind of agree with the meta point. Like, if you look past the crazy, there's a point in there. And one of them is we overuse hand sanitizer. So there's a whole bunch of kids who are growing up now who are just these mardy little fucks who get sick every time they go outside because they've overused hand sanitizer and they get sick for everything. There is a certain amount of environmental exposure that is required to be able to live in your natural environment, right? Sure, I don't think we all need to be gallivanting through a shit stream. That's surplus to requirements. Although we may joke, but the reality is that there are parts of this world. Dysentery, anyone? Where the fuck you think that comes from?
Yeah.
There are parts of this world where that is the day-to-day life of many people. They have that in their water supply and all that sort of stuff. That's why when you go on holiday and you start shitting out your entire life, that's what's happened to you. But it doesn't happen to the locals. They've been,
conditioned.
RFK'd. Yeah.
No, I agree with that, and I would sum it up as I like play in the dirt. I don't like play in the raw sewage. I think that's the way to go.
I'm definitely trying to cut down on play in the raw sewage.
You don't want to swim in that.
No, definitely not.
I wonder if he made him go underwater, make sure you get it in your nose, that kind of thing.
I wouldn't even put my head in the water in a spa.
Yeah. I feel like just in case people might not be getting it, RFK took his grandkids out and had them swim in a creek that had sewage in it so they would build up immunity and be healthier kids. That seems like a bad way to go. That's what we're talking about here. Dickhead.
Yeah,
Guy's a dickhead.
Gross.
How does Cheryl Hines stay with that guy? You know Cheryl Hines?
Not personally. No.
Okay, well, she's his wife, and she is Larry's wife on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and she seems like a good, sensible person, and she is married to him and stays with him, and I don't understand how that can be. And I think she really doesn't agree with him on most of his bullshit, is the way I read it.
I mean, she must on some level.
I don't know, because you have the Conways. There's Carol Ann Conway, whatever that asshole Conway was, the Crypt Keeper woman. George Conway is on the exact opposite side of things. And there was another Democrat, a hardcore Democrat. I'm not remembering his name. Bald, thin guy. Anyway, he and his wife were total opposites politically. And I'm like, could you really be married to somebody like that? Like, if there was a hardcore Trumper, could you ever marry that person?
No, me personally, no.
Right.
Because I feel like there are certain things that are beyond politics that move into core values.
Right.
And I need to be aligned in some core values.
Yeah. Like, this proves you to be a crazy lunatic person that doesn't believe good things. I'm not going to be with you, is the way I would feel about it. Speaking of which, Amber Heard.
Oh.
She had twins. Did you hear about that?
I did on Mother's Day, nonetheless.
Yeah. What a weird coincidence. They are shitting all over the bed, too. She taught them well, as I hear it. And then I think, okay, how did this happen? Who's the father? Is it Elon's evil demon spawn? That's what I'm wondering, because there's that rumor.
Oh my gosh. I would not be surprised. He is trying to single-handedly repopulate the earth. It's ridiculous.
And have you read about that? Do you know what his deal is on that? He just needs to be the guy that makes sure that his seed is everywhere and he's going to have an advanced race someday. Is that the idea?
I think essentially, yeah.
He needs to be stopped. Stop the crazy people. It seems so weird that every week I say stop the crazy people, and there's more and more goddamn fucking crazy people everywhere.
Yeah, the biggest problem in this equation is the women who are having his child or his children and then deciding to raise them alone. Now, there are people who have gotten to an advanced age and they've decided they don't need no man and they want to raise a child and all of that kind of stuff. And power to you, sister. Love that for you. But at some point, that kid is going to want to know who their dad is.
Yeah.
And kids need their parents.
I think kids need two parents. I don't care what sex they are, but I just think have two. It's very beneficial.
Right. Because parenting is an extreme sport. It's a it really does take a village. And so multiple parents or multiple guardians, parental figures, something like that.
Yeah.
Just not out there doing alone.
And I just feel like all of these women are probably being paid very well. And then as we were just talking, I thought of this, and maybe this is an asshole theory. If it is, please say so. Amber Heard over the years has gotten extremely less hot. If you look at her and her work in the movie Zombieland, she was in that movie. She's at the very beginning. Super hot. She was determined by a computer to be the most beautiful woman in the world. And as the years have gone on with all this stuff with Johnny Depp and now this, that, and the other, and the twins, I see pictures of her and I think, wow, she's gotten very unattractive. Is that because it's just years have gone on? Or is it because she's become evil and the evil is taking over her looks? Or is it that I am not jaded by her beauty and see her as kind of a shitty person and therefore find her less attractive? What's going on there, do you think?
It's probably a combination of all of those things.
And yet, I bet if I go back and watch Zombieland and see her, I'll be like, holy crap, she's still really beautiful. I don't know. I'll have to work it out. It's maybe something for psychotherapy if I decide to go that way.
Yeah, without a doubt. But she is getting older, like we all are.
Yeah.
But also, I think that you think that she's a horrible person. Oh, wow, look at me just smashing up the place. Far out.
That's fine. Something to
flipping tables.
we use it to test the new system we're using. That'll be good. I'm trying not to partake in it, but the P. Diddy thing, are you watching that? Do you have thoughts on that? It's just so dark and screwed up and yuck.
I tried to avoid it.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I actually read the entire court proceedings. I just sat down with a cup of coffee and just read all the way through it because up until that point in time, I'd really only seen a sanitized version of it, like the highlights and the accusations and all of that sort of stuff. And out of all of the fucked up shit that I read, do you want to know what I found to be the most disturbing thing?
What's that?
That throughout all of the entire proceedings, that his children were seated in the courtroom the whole time behind him.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yuck.
That is fucked up.
Yeah.
This woman and these people are there. They are showing videos of him assaulting this woman. They have prostitutes coming in talking about him giving direction, how much he paid. All of this sort of stuff. Like, I didn't watch it, but I read it and saw the courtroom sketches and everything. And his kids, who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, who's putting those kids in that position? How are they there to hear that? You want to try to shield them from the news, and how are they in the courtroom?
I just feel like this is not okay.
Is it a thing where he just thinks all of this stuff is okay? So he's told people, hey, you go ahead and take my kids there. I'll deny all of it. And maybe he has this huge ego and just thinks it's no big deal. I don't know.
And whilst I understand and appreciate the sentiment that, he's fighting these charges and his family is defending him and they want to show support, but he has 7 kids of all a variety of different ages. But I would not want my kids to see that. Surely he knows that they are going to play things that are real.
Stuff is going to come up. Even if you thought it wasn't true, they're going to make you look like a bad guy. How do you say to somebody, bring the kids there and think that that's okay? I don't get it.
Right. How? I just, and maybe, because he's fighting the charge of sex trafficking. But I guess it's up to the jury to decide if all of this stuff equals sex trafficking or if it's just consensual weirdness.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case, isn't it?
Well, and then there's the other part of it that I have a struggle of conscience with, but I guess I understand. If you have daughters, how would you ever put women in that position? But then I think, okay, I'm not depraved and I wouldn't do horrible things to women, but I also, if I had daughters, wouldn't even think of them in that way. So maybe it's just a very extreme, detached version of this where I'll do this horrible shit to women and it's okay, but these women that are my daughters, they get treated differently and I see them differently. That's a weird leap for me to make.
Yeah. I mean, why does it take having daughters to treat somebody decently? And the
Yeah.
reality is that lots of these ultimate sex pests, like those guys that lock up women in their basements and stuff, they have daughters. And sometimes they lock up their own daughters in the basement.
Right.
And so that's no longer the litmus test for depravity.
Like, I feel at least that's 100% crazy. The ability to separate their daughters from that crazy is the part that baffles me. That's okay. You would think that you would see your daughter and say, okay, that's wrong. And then see other women and say, oh, that's wrong too. And I'm going to move on like a normal member of society.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Ugh, so gross. I just hope that something positive comes out of this. His victim, she seems to be thriving with her life. She's married, she's got kids and all of these different things. But I'm sure that there have been many, many, many more victims.
Yeah, all the parties that have gone on for years. And it's kind of one of those things that hearing about things from the outside in the 90s and into the 2000s, you would think, wow, they sure must have wild parties, but you would never even begin to imagine these kinds of things in most cases, you know?
So gross.
Yeah. Do you watch reality TV at all?
Fuck no.
Okay. I don't either, except, and I've gotten back into it lately. I will talk to you about this, and this will lead into another topic, Survivor. I watched Survivor way back when and thought it was good. And I just recently started watching the current season, season 48, and thought that was good. And then I had the Paramount Plus temporary free subscription, and I watched, like, in the span of 3 days, all of season 47. And I just, it's some of the best TV ever, because I get that it's reality TV and I get that they engineer things, but I feel like at least they're not dishonest in the way they engineer things. They have challenges and set them up this way, and I'm sure set things up so that things happen a certain way, and the people are devious, but I don't think they're being devious just for the camera. It doesn't feel that way. And I just finished all of season 47, and the person that won is incredible. There's some really great moments at the end where people were trying to fuck them and they didn't get fucked, and they played around and got through the game and just had a moment of, well, you thought this was going to happen and it didn't. And here's why it didn't happen, because I did this. So many mic drop moments. I'll say it that way. Also on that season, there was a person named Teeny. Teeny is a gay, super smart, likable 23-year-old kid that you watch and you're like, okay, she's really sharp and smart and I like her. And that season ended, I think, probably 6 months ago. And I've been looking online and internet stuff, and I Googled Teeny, and she's on Instagram. And Teeny eventually went trans from the looks of it. And there's a picture of Teeny on Instagram with a bare chest, and they're showing that on Instagram. And that was a thing to me where I went, okay, that is the same person that 6 months ago, before that surgery, couldn't show her bare chest, and that would have been censored, and that's not good. That's not acceptable. But the same person now, because they are being viewed as a guy, that's okay on Instagram, and that totally doesn't make sense in my head. And how do you, not you, but how do you, meaning Instagram, rationalize that? How does that make sense?
It doesn't make any sense. And it also really speaks to just this country and this culture.
Right.
It's not weird to see people's nipples in France. Like, you go to the beach and you get your tits out. Like, I mean, it's not weird. And it's not, it's the United States is so incredibly repressed. Women get screamed at for breastfeeding in public here. It's so bizarre.
That's insane.
It's insane. It is not a sexual thing. It freaks me out. I don't know what it is, but it's weird. And yeah, I don't know why people feel that way about stuff. Things are only sexual if you sexualize them.
And how did that happen in history? Like, who in America decided, however many hundreds of years ago, that we're not going to show women's tops when they're really not much different than men's chests other than they give people life. We had this discussion before on the show. How did that ever come to be? How was that decided? It's weird. And the fact that I asked that question. I'm keeping talking. Sorry, but
No, it's
how
fine.
does that happen? And then I, as a guy, am fixated on boobs, like, oh, they're boobs. And I feel like, hey, look at the boobs. Those are nice looking, because it is something that is meant to be kept so secret. Probably those societal norms are why I have that attitude ingrained in me, because I ought to just be like, oh, it's boobs, whatever. Who cares? Because logically, that's the way I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a weird line in the sand. You're you, and you can't show that. But now that you've cut off your boobs, we'll show it. Go ahead. It's natural. But if you have nipples and breasts, it's dirty. I don't understand it.
Here, let's make this weird.
Yeah.
What if you're a fat guy? I have seen men with bigger tits than half of my girlfriends just out there swinging in the breeze.
Yep.
Not sexual?
Apparently not. Apparently size is not the gauge for which you decide what is sexual. Apparently it's only gender, I guess.
It's only gender. It's not size. It's
Right.
not nipple.
Right.
It's only gender. And by the way, it's only perceived gender as well. So there are plenty of women out there as well who have like a super flat, especially athletes. Let's say, for example, you took a photograph of them cropped, chest only, put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Wouldn't get flagged unless somebody knew
Yeah.
it was a woman. Anyway, I don't know what that says about us. Again, this looks like a job for a therapist, but it is boggling to me.
Yeah, you could totally gauge the system and, I bet this has been done. I bet somebody has taken big old man tits and put them on the internet and maybe someplace like Instagram, and I bet they get censored. And then probably after the fact, they pull it out and go, oh, it's a guy. Fooled you.
Absolutely. There's a whole movement called Free the Nipple.
I think I heard about that.
I don't know much about it, but I know it exists. And I think this is their whole argument.
It just doesn't make sense logically to me. And again, when I really analyze myself, I'm not a boob guy. I don't like big boobs. But when I'm on Facebook and the reels are all egg dishes and hot women, it's like, hey, look at that. And it's like, okay, why am I thinking that way? It's just boobs. And they're covered and they're meant to be dirty. So that's probably why I'm fixated. I don't know.
I mean, it makes sense to me.
Here's a thing that a friend of mine posted. It's a thing that Sarah Silverman originally posted. This is a video of an attractive young white girl talking about issues, and the world is completely open to her. And what right does she have to think things and make political comments and judgments? Well, to me, it turns out quite a bit. And I'm just going to play this and let all 3 minutes of this play. And then we can talk about whatever with it after the fact. This is somebody, I guess, originally from TikTok. Her name is Alyson Welborne. Check this out.
Your life doesn't suck because your barista had blue hair. They still showed up, still remembered your order, still smiled, even if it was tired, even if you didn't. Your life doesn't suck because your neighbor doesn't speak English. They pay taxes, raise their kids, drive to work before the sun rises. You don't need to understand their words to see that they're doing exactly what you're doing, just trying to survive. Your life doesn't suck because a trans man used the men's bathroom. He went in, he came out, the world kept spinning, it just wasn't around you. The problem was never children learning what a pronoun was. It was never about grammar. It was never about protecting kids. Your life probably does suck, but not for the reasons you post about. Not because your favorite store sold a rainbow shirt or because you had to press 1 for English. Not because someone said Latinx or they, them in a tweet that you didn't have to read. Your life might suck because you're drowning in debt, because your rent just went up again and the only thing that trickled down was exhaustion. That pain is real. But it's not the fault of the cashier with pink nails or the kids with a pride patch on their backpacks. Someone's life today sucks because they lost their daughter when a man with a gun walked into a school and made it a graveyard. And the politicians that you voted for sent thoughts and prayers and money to the NRA. Someone's life today sucks because ICE knocked on their door before breakfast was even made, and now their father is gone, disappeared into a system designed to forget him. Someone's life today sucks because they came out to their family and were met with silence or fists or Bible verses thrown like bricks. And if you ask me if I care that your life sucks, I don't. I will look you in the eye and say, I don't. I don't care that your life sucks. Not if your definition of pain is seeing someone different than you exist without apologizing. Not if your idea of oppression is having to share space with people you don't understand and never tried to. I don't care that everything going wrong is exactly what you voted for, that the man you chose did what he said he was going to do, and now it's affecting you. I care about the millions who voted against it, who stood in long lines of broken systems with shaking hands and steady hearts trying to hold back the tide. I care about the people you hated so much you were willing to vote against their right to breathe, to marry, to walk into a store without fear, to learn history that includes them. And somehow you want sympathy? Try empathy first. Try waking up in a world where your very existence is debated by strangers in suits. Your life doesn't suck because someone else found a little joy. It doesn't suck because someone else got rights you already had. It sucks because the people in power told you who to blame and you believed them. You were sold a scapegoat and called it salvation. But you can still unlearn it. You can still sit down, shut up for a second, and listen, because not every cry is about you. Not every protest is a threat. Sometimes it's just people fighting for the right to live without asking for your permission. So maybe your life does suck, but it's not because of pronouns, or food stamps, or hair dye, or immigrants, or love. It sucks because you keep mistaking comfort for freedom and cruelty for strength. And that's on you.
So there you go. That's somebody named Alyson Welborne, and that chokes me up. There's so much said there that is so good and so dead on. And that's where we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Very moving and poignant. That's a great piece.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing.
Yep. So I think we can end it there. We're earlier in the show than normal, but we're testing out this new thing, and I want to see how that goes. And you've got all kinds of explosive health issues that you're not talking about, which is fine, and stuff to get onto, and we can move on from there.
It's great. Well, always an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. You're not going to die in the next week, are you?
I'm really trying not to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not planned.
Okay. I'm just checking. If you are, let me know.
Yeah, sure. I'll be sure to tap out a text.
Yeah. I just died. Thought I'd pass that on to you.
Yeah. I'm in the tunnel.
There is a light.
Oh, have a great week, everyone.
See ya.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.